I've been trying to confront more things on the real side rather than be creative and do whatever kind of tricks and whatnot. So I'd rather just be direct and confront these things. So I had a very interesting experience. It came right before I was about to fall asleep. And essentially, I saw somebody was trying to do some kind of ritual on one of my pictures. I'm not sure where they got my picture from. I mean, there's the internet and whatever, but they had a picture of mine and it was sitting in like a circle, and like there was all these symbols and there was candles, and it was really black. It was this black setting, and they were kind of like wearing like a dark robe themselves. Well, I was seeing them, and I was seeing them setting up this ritual and whatever they're doing, and I was like, hey, I just said, okay, I'm just going to confront them. It's kind of like what I told myself. I said, I'm going to just confront them. So I walked over to them. I walked up to them, and they're kind of on their knees because this whole thing's on the floor. So that's like the personal self, the physical, or whatever it is. And they were kind of hurriedly trying to get it done. And when I said, hello. I said, what did I ask them? Either how are you doing or something like that. But they were kind of shocked, and they kind of just looked at me. And then I was like, I offered them, I said, hey, you could do a lot better, because I think I asked them, what are you doing? Something like that. And then basically I just kind of asked them, you could do a lot better than this. And they're like, what do you mean I could do better? And I'm saying, and I told them, well, you could sing the NUUU. And then they became very arrogant. They didn't want to hear it. They kind of like shrugged me off and this and that. And then they proceeded to go on with their ritual, and I don't know, they started lighting candles and all this stuff. But I just said, you don't have to do this. You could make better choices, essentially, is what I was trying to tell them. And again, they kind of were very arrogant about it. They just kind of like, they used their hand to sort of like brush me away, like told me, go away, basically. And so I just kind of stood there. I didn't react emotional. I didn't get like upset about the ritual they were doing. I didn't like I wasn't reactive in that way. Well, anyways, at a certain point, because then they kind of like looked at me and they fell backwards. They fell backwards, even though they were already on their knees, sort of on the ground. They threw themselves backwards to now they were on their butt, and they were looking up, not at me, but like around me. And then all of a sudden, I was outside of this body form. I became an objective view to where I could see Rebazar and Paul, and a couple other guides that I don't really remember. Could have been Fubi or Yabel. But Rebazar, it was kind of funny. He had his arms crossed. I never seen him like that. He had his crossed arms, kind of like he meant business, and he was just staring at this individual. And that really frightened him. He took off, and I saw him run. And it was interesting, when this individual started running, he knocked over all these candles, and he kind of messed up his little altar or whatever it was. And as he was running, the blank black space that we found ourselves in initially turned into my personal self home. Probably through, agreements, because I asked him, what are you doing, and certain things like that. And it pertains to me in a sense that it showed up in that way. So when he was running, all of a sudden we were in the first level of my house, in the physical or the personal aspect. And he opened the front door and he ran out to the street. He let himself out. And I remember kind of laughing. I'm like, no, I didn't even have to, throw him out or whatever. He let himself out. And so I was going to close the door. Usually when things are in the personal self house and it comes about in this way to where I see the house on the real side, I usually will gather things and throw them out, throw them in the trash. Or if it's a person, I just kind of throw them on the doorstep and tell them, get lost or whatever, depending on the individual and their intentions. But so as I was grabbing the door to kind of lock it, something told me, you could follow him. You could see if he's willing now. So I was kind of, okay, that's more fun than just closing the door and locking it. That's what I usually always do, is I close the door and I lock it. But so I didn't lock the door. I just opened it and I walked out. I let myself out and I started walking after this individual. He was taking off down the street, and I caught up with him. And actually, it was very interesting. I didn't have to walk up to him. I sort of just positioned myself kind of right next to him and then a little ways in front of him. And that seemed to kind of shock him a little bit, but he was very focused on leaving still. And I just told him, you could do a lot better. You don't have to run away and be afraid. You could sing the NUUU and wake up. You don't have to make these abrasive choices and do these things to individuals, in anywhere in creation, because you're setting yourself up. And I just basically tried to explain this to him, but again, he wasn't interested. So I saw Rebazar just kind of say like, okay, it's whatever, just let him be. And then I just went back. And that was the experience.
Thanks, Jeremy. That's really cool. Thanks for being there and really stepping up. It's wonderful.
As a NUUU student, can anybody cast a spell on you? As in, I, I'm kind of curious about that. Can you be like use it? Can anybody use black magic and it affects you? I want to understand something about that, and if it does work, what else? Because I, I have some experience long time ago in a area I stayed. The place was kind of fetish, and I was experiencing a lot of things going on. And as soon as I leave the place, I got a clear view and my dream experience and everything. So I really want to get an understanding about the no presentation and the the other side.
Jeremy, you want to address that? Black magic and
Sure,
etc.
sure.
You have
Well,
experience with that.
in my experience, this isn't the first, you might see the first time that somebody's tried to do something like this. Use these black magic and whatever, but it doesn't really matter which form the attack or the whatever shows up, the way that it shows up, whether it's black magic, whether it's a Wi-Fi attack, whether it's a whatever, it doesn't matter necessarily, because I'm starting to recognize that these are opportunities to share with these individuals rather than to emotionally react and sort of create my own mind matrix that I should be afraid of them, or that I should um, like have the idea that my safety is in their hands and they have the power to destroy me. But this is all through agreements. So we make these agreements in very subtle ways, in various ways. They come about in various ways and can be from past lifetimes. But I guess another aspect about talking about this, about attacks and however they show up, is that the protection aspect, and I know Duane has said it very well, that, or referred to it in a very clear sense, that we do not need to be concerned about protection. By the very fact that we're here and we have sincere intentions and that we're focused on something, you might say, bigger than ourselves, a real purpose and a real focus that is actually a benefit for everybody, that the protection is automatic. It doesn't need to be considered, and we don't necessarily have to ask. We can ask, but it's automatic through our pure intentions, because we're stepping up and we're doing something that's of a benefit, starting to sing the NUUU, and that's really big, because that goes beyond creation. that goes beyond your personal self, and it's not just you making noise in the physical. No, it's all of your bodies through all of creation, because it's all here and now in isness, so it has a big impact. So these things will start to show up, and even a lot of people say when they start singing the NUUU, they start seeing themselves being attacked and all that stuff, because you're always getting attacked. You're just waking up to the fact, or the reality, that you're in creation and you're very vulnerable in a lot of ways. But as you become more aware, you're more capable of survival through all the life levels, realms, dimensions, and into your real awareness. So I hope I answered your question, if that was clear, or if there's anything else.
Okay, I get the point. I understand. Well, okay. Um, um, because I I wanted to know, and I've gotten it. Like once we are doing something real and we have good intent, and the protection is automatic. Yeah, I I really it's a really perfect one for me. Because for as of that time, like what kept me going, like it was this experience was faced with lot of challenge. Everything was somehow, because this same individual was kind of performing all sort of rituals for for some kind of reason, and and I then each time the person performed the rituals and do things in the physical realm, things will start going like wrong. My car break down, and jobs, like I'm an handyman, and sometimes I don't get called up for anything, and everything is here. Going to raise money to feed on is difficult. Anytime this person just turn to make all these rituals, and so I kept singing the NUUU, like my whole attention was on the NUUU. Kept singing the NUUU, but keep getting worse. So what brought me out of it was I started listening to talk, and there's one tape that Kelsey posted, that is it Chris Courage and Duane. So someone shared an experience that each time he was doing the NUUU, things getting worse, that he wasn't not getting the results. So Duane replied him like that the whole idea is not really on the NUUU, that he should focus on the real awareness. So since then I stopped singing the NUUU. I focus on my real awareness. I just put focus. I focus on being being on this path. Focus on reverse attacks. I talk to him as a friend. I just stop thinking, and I focus on talking to reverse attacks. Gradually, I pulled out of that. That one healed me faster than going and sitting, sing the NUUU. So I noticed that was faster than this other side. So, but I was still curious, like, did this thing get to me or something? And then I was like thinking, the curiosity was in two ways, like, because that was the first time I started reading the new course, okay, like the dream course. When I read the dream course, chapter 1, 2, and the first 3 months, that everything was difficult. Like it's, but after then, when I started getting to 5, 6, 7, and I came out of it. So I was thinking, because when I chatted, I explained it to Duane. I chatted Duane on Facebook, and he was like, he didn't reply me anything. He just say that I'm beginning a new a huge journey. That is a huge journey. He didn't want to talk about it on Facebook. But ever since I come on Skype, I haven't come up with it. But I was still having the curiosity, like, um, was I being attacked, or was it something else I didn't know about? I don't want, because I just get this, I bear this in mind, I have this in my okay, I'm aware of this. Like, I don't think nothing, ever since I'm with Reverse Attacks, I don't feel nothing can come close to me. As anything, it might just be steps to wake up, but to get me down to that extent, it will not, you can't attack me with anything. But ever since I had that experience, I've been having this curiosity on my, like, what is going on.
Well, you've got a unique experience there, Grayson, being in Africa, because the controllers like to attack that continent, rape their resources and control, and because the people are more, indigenous, basically. So your focus is, in a way, have to be really focused there because of the control factor that's going on with that. But it's a dangerous world, and you're seeing it straight there in Africa. But then again, the focus, you have an opportunity to focus more, and then help others there in your area. It's great that you're here and sharing, Grayson. Thank you.
About what Grayson was saying, and I'm not sure how long individually you've been singing the NUUU, but I will share this because I understand what you mean, and that it seems like things get worse. When I first started to sing the NUUU, I started to, I would guess there was the experiences with Really Bizarre and so on, but there was also a lot of attacks that I was getting, and um, a lot of things were showing up that I was not originally or aware of at first. But as I started to sing the NUUU, I was becoming aware of them, whether it was people with certain intentions, entities latched onto me, or certain things that I needed to face and what have you. And I noticed as these things would come up, they would bother me that much more because now I was aware of them. I wasn't just the unconscious effect of them. I had the intention to make better choices. And I kind of see what Duane means there when he tells you, you're starting a huge journey. I mean, this is something that is very individual, but it's also very, very, very real. And that's kind of the simplest way I can put it, in that it's very, very real, and it's very, very beneficial. And you have to kind of be real with yourself and where you're at, which is creation, which is on Earth. And this is a controlled planet. This is a controlled simulator. So as you start to sing the NUUU and wake up, why would the dark forces want you to do that? They wouldn't want you to do that. They would sort of, you might say, do everything in their power to make sure that you don't do that. they'll send in all these people to try and influence you. They'll send in whatever, they send in the cavalry. There's this old saying, they're sending in the cavalry, and that's kind of what they do. But you can look at it in a way that it's only a benefit, that this agitation, that however much you're bothered or upset or whatever, that's agitation, and that agitation can fuel you on your journey to recognizing your real awareness. But I would say, yes, I understand, and that as you sing the NUUU, all these things start to come up. But it's you can look at it like a test. There you go. It's something like a test. So I would just say, just keep the focus, keep singing the NUUU, and like you said, focus on your real awareness and Rebazar, and these things will start to show up.
Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, you already have it, Grayson. It's just the recognition of it. It's already there. Everything, the protection, the awareness. That it just is getting to the point and positioning yourself so you can recognize what's going on, where you are with it, and just keep going with it.
What you're doing is you're agitating the big boys, and you're going to get attacked, and you're going to have to live with it and live through it. And that's what they don't want you to do. That's just my thoughts.
I'm reminding of a quote from Duane. It's like, how they say it's a lonely journey. Well, it's really not a lonely journey because they're going to be after you. So you'll have plenty of company along the way.